We think
Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. The Arab Summit adopts Egyptian plan for Gaza's reconstruction minus the Hamas countering Trump's proposal for a Middle East Riviera. Calls on the international community and financial institutions for quick support. The EU chief lays out a plan for mobilizing up to 800 billion euros for Europe's defense after Trump pauses all military aid to Ukraine, which says it has the means to hold the front. Trump's 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports and 20% on Chinese imports takes effect. Over $1.3 trillion of annual trade to be hit. And Team Australia sets a target of 265 runs for India in the Champions Trophy semi-final in Dubai. First up, an Arab Summit draft communique adopted an Egyptian plan for Gaza's future and called on the international community and financial institutions to provide support for the plan quickly. The plan also supported Palestinian decision to form an administrative committee for Gaza affairs. According to the document, Egypt's reconstruction plan for Gaza will cost $53 billion, which includes a commercial harbour, a technology hub and beach hotels. But it doesn't say who will be in charge. Now, Israel on Tuesday signaled readiness to move to the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal, but stressed that an agreement on the release of hostages held by the Hamas is crucial to extend the framework. Speaking in Jerusalem, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar said, and I quote, "We demand total demilitarization of Gaza, Hamas and Islamic Jihad out, and the return of our hostages. If they agree to that, we can implement it tomorrow." End quote.
Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, and then we'll open it for questions.
We don't have an agreement on phase two. We demand total demilitarization of Gaza Strip, Hamas and Islamic Jihad out, and give us our hostages. If they agree to that, we can implement tomorrow. We will only have to then discuss the ratio for the terrorists that want to get out from our jails, okay? It was not agreed in the agreement. It was left to be agreed on phase two. There is no shelf agreement on phase two. There's nothing in it.
Meanwhile, Hamas leader Sami Abu Zuhri has said that disarming is a red line for his movement and other Palestinian militant groups in negotiations to extend the fragile Gaza ceasefire. Now, US President Donald Trump's new 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada took effect on Tuesday, along with a doubling of duties on Chinese goods to 20%, launching new trade conflicts with the top 3 US trading partners. We get to details in our next report.
The gloves are off. After days of speculation in the US and hope across its northern and southern borders, US President Donald Trump is going ahead with his decision to impose sweeping 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada with effect from Tuesday, March 4th.
Tariffs 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, and that'll start. So they're going to have a tariff. So what they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
The tariffs from China will also be levied from 4th March. However, in a show of defiance, Trump has doubled the rate from 10% announced initially to 20%. The tariffs are scheduled to take effect on Tuesday. Trump had initially planned to impose the tariffs at the beginning of February but delayed the move after Canada and Mexico agreed to take certain steps on border control. All 3 nations have threatened countermeasures.
Comunicación permanente.
Whatever their decision is, we will also make our decisions, and there is a plan and there is unity in Mexico. That strengthens us a lot.
Y vamos a esperar qué pasa.
Canada announced retaliatory tariffs. In a statement from Prime Minister's office, Canada said it will start with 25% tariffs on US imports worth 30 billion Canadian dollars from Tuesday, and thereafter an additional $125 billion worth in 21 days. It added that Canada's tariffs will remain in place until the US trade action is withdrawn, and if it is not withdrawn, provinces and territories will pursue several non-tariff measures. China has already announced tariffs on energy imports from the US. As per China, it will play along to the end if US insists on tariff war.
美方如果真想解决芬太尼问题，
If the US truly wants to resolve the fentanyl issue, it should engage in consultations with China on the basis of equality, mutual respect, and reciprocity to address each other's concerns. However, if the US harbors ulterior motives and insists on waging a tariff war, trade war, or any other kind of war, China will play along to the end. We urge the US to abandon its bullying stance and return to the right track of dialogue and cooperation as soon as
回
possible.
到对话合作的正确轨道上来。
The European Union warned on Tuesday that US tariffs on Canada and Mexico threaten transatlantic economic stability and risk disrupting global trade, urging Washington to reverse course. The next in line of Trump's tariffs are those on steel and aluminium imports globally, which are set to start from March 12th. Countries that will be affected from March 12th decision have started reacting as well. South Korea's acting president Choi Sang-mok said on Tuesday that the government, parliament, and the private sector should be united to respond to the US trade war. Trump's recent imposition of sweeping tariffs aim to boost domestic manufacturing. That may or may not happen in the long term, but the short-term effects are already being felt in the way the decision has sent stock markets into a tailspin. After the initial jitters, no one wants to hazard a guess for how long it will take to calm the aftershocks. Bureau Report, TD India.
Mexico's president has also condemned this decision and has promised to hit back by Sunday with some tariff and non-tariff measures. And at the same time, U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick has announced that it's the 2nd of April, which will be the next day for action, where the U.S. trading partners will be brought under the Reciprocal Tariff Action Plan, which also includes India. Now, in a major development, U.S. President Trump has also ordered a pause on U.S. military aid to Ukraine following a tense Oval Office meeting aiming to push Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky towards peace talks with Russia. The White House has announced a review and temporary pause on aid to ensure it supports a peaceful resolution. The pause has gone into effect immediately and impacts hundreds of millions of dollars of weaponry in the process of being sent to Ukraine. All U.S. military equipment not yet in Ukraine would be halted, including weapons en route by air or sea and those held in transit areas in Poland. Trump has directed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to implement the pause. U.S. assistance to Ukraine includes military aid, budgetary assistance, largely delivered through a World Bank Trust Fund, and other funds that had been delivered through the U.S. Agency for International Development, which has been throttled by the Trump White House. And responding to that, Ukraine's Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal has said that despite a pause in U.S. military aid, Ukrainian forces can maintain their position on the battlefield.
Our military and the government have the capabilities, the tools, let's say, to maintain the situation on the front line. They are obviously not subject to disclosure. These are not the things to be discussed publicly.
And Shmyhal has also said that Ukraine remains ready to work with the U.S. on the minerals deal, apart from other issues related to getting to a lasting ceasefire. Now, the European Commission has proposed 150 billion euros in joint EU borrowings to provide defence loans to member states. The plan is part of a broader 800 billion euro financing effort aimed at strengthening Europe's defence capabilities. European leaders agreed to increase defence spending to demonstrate that the continent can protect itself. The decision follows President Trump's decision to pause U.S. military aid to Ukraine.
We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security.
Russia has said that the U.S. decision to pause military aid to Ukraine would be the best contribution to peace, but emphasized the need for more clarity on the move. The statement has come from Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, and it's come after Trump clashed with Zelensky in the White House last week, leading to the halt of U.S. military assistance to Kyiv.
Of course, the details are yet to be known, but if this is true, then this is a decision that can really encourage the Kyiv regime to come to the peace process.
And Trump himself has suggested that a deal allowing U.S. investment in Ukraine's minerals could still happen, despite tensions with Kyiv. This comes as European leaders have proposed a truce in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Trump administration sees this deal as a way for the United States to earn back some of the billions of dollars given in aid to Ukraine. However, this recent Oval Office clash between Trump and Zelensky has put the potential deal in doubt. Responding to a question on Monday, Trump hinted that the deal is not dead, describing it as a great deal for America. Further, he said that he would give an update on the situation on Tuesday night, also adding that Zelensky should be more appreciative of Washington's support.
What do you need to see from President Zelensky to restart these negotiations?
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us because, as you know, that's right there, that's the border.
And since taking office in January, Trump has upended U.S. policy on Ukraine and Russia, adopting a more conciliatory approach towards Moscow, leaving Ukraine and European allies wary. And Russia said on Tuesday that any normalization of relations with the U.S. would require Washington to lift sanctions on Moscow. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov made the remarks in response to a media report which claimed that the U.S. is working on a plan to potentially ease sanctions on Russia as part of President Trump's efforts to restore ties with Moscow and seek an end to the conflict with Ukraine.
It is probably too early to say anything. We haven't heard any official statements, but anyway, our attitude to the sanctions is well known. We consider them illegal. And of course, we talk about the normalizing of bilateral relations. Then they need to be freed from this negative burden of the so-called sanctions.
Serbian opposition lawmakers threw smoke grenades and tear gas inside parliament on Tuesday to protest against the government and support demonstrating students, with one legislator suffering a stroke during the chaos. 4 months of student-led demonstrations have drawn in teachers, farmers and others to become the biggest threat yet to President Aleksandar Vucic's decade-long rule, with many Serbians denouncing corruption and incompetence in government. The second day of the World Mobile Congress being hosted in Spain witnessed large number of visitors curious to witness the latest advancements in consumer technology showcased during the event. Exhibition booths featured a range of innovative devices including smartwatches, smartphones and headphones. Notably, this year's World Mobile Congress is displaying an array of technological innovations including futuristic police cars, health monitoring contact lenses, immersive surround sound video calls and much more. And Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, spoke at the Mobile World Congress where he criticized the growing power of major tech companies. He expressed concerns about their increasing influence on our lives and the amount of control they have over personal data. Wozniak, who helped build Apple, stressed the importance of putting users' needs first rather than allowing big corporations to dominate the tech world.
Technology companies are huge, and if they're that huge and worth that much money, they have to have some political involvement. They've always hired I'm so non-political. It's the guys that go to lunch with all the congressmen and push ideas on them. I mean, we've always had that. So there's some involvement. There's got to be some involvement, but actually taking direct roles, oversight of it, just because they've made it big in technology, I don't like that at all from what I'm seeing.
Are you and I thinking of the same person, about whom Wozniak was talking about? Not too much of a guessing game required there. Now, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India slams human rights chief for unfounded and baseless comments on Kashmir and Manipur in his global update.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Gautam Roy. Now, India on Monday slammed the United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk for unfounded and baseless comments on Kashmir and Manipur in his global update. India's representative to the United Nations, Arindam Bagchi, stressed that Turk's comments did not reflect the ground realities of India. He also urged a better understanding of India's democratic and pluralistic ethos.
As India was mentioned by name, let me begin by emphasizing that the world's largest democracy continues to be a healthy, vibrant and pluralistic society. Unfounded and baseless comments in the update contrast jarringly with ground realities. The people of India have repeatedly proven wrong such misplaced concerns about us. We would urge a better understanding of India and our civilizational ethos of diversity and openness, which continue to define our robust and often cacophonous civic space. Nothing illustrates this divergence more than the passing reference to Jammu and Kashmir, erroneously referred to as Kashmir, ironically in a year that stood out for that region's improving peace and inclusive progress, be it the large turnout provincial elections, the booming tourism, or the rapid development pace. Clearly, the global update needs a genuine update.
Now, the 12th Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum in Asia and the Pacific is getting closer towards finalizing the Jaipur Declaration. The conference has experts and leaders from countries in the Asia-Pacific region. DD India's Vishal Baristo reports.
For India, the world is a family, and the time to act to save the earth is now, said India's Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Bhupendra Yadav while addressing the gathering on day 2 of the 12th Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum. The minister also highlighted how India, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is committed towards combating the menace of climate change.
Circular economy recognizes the importance of the economy to work effectively at all scales, for big and small businesses, for organizations and individuals globally and locally. We in India, under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, have emphasized on the need to make climate action as a participative process.
More than 50 startups and Indian companies are showcasing their technology in the conference. These companies are converting waste into energy and wealth. Vegunt Enertech is converting municipal waste into biomethanol. It is called Fueling the Future. India is currently importing methanol at a heavy price.
Our technology is focused mainly on addressing this MSW and converting this into various resources. Municipal solid waste. And if you see in our technology, we convert everything into a biofuel called methanol and also bio-CNG. And also we capture the carbon which is emitted out of this process, and we can convert that into algae products and aviation fuel as well.
Another startup is making digital business cards from bamboo, which are environment friendly and reusable too.
सारे लोग हैं जिनके ऑफिस चेंज होते हैं, जिनकी वेबसाइट्स चेंज होती हैं, ईमेल एड्रेस चेंज होते हैं, एंड उसके बाद वो उनके जो कार्ड्स हैं वो कम्प्लीटली वेस्ट हो जाते हैं. तो फिर हमारे पास में आइडिया है कि यार हम इसको डिजिटल वाले कंसेप्ट में करते हैं. ये बेसिकली एक कार्ड नहीं है, इसके पीछे पूरा मैकेनिज्म है.
And now from the bamboos to tires, one startup is enlightening the world how to earn from waste, the discarded tires, and that too in an eco-friendly way with style.
So we utilize tire and upcycle those tires. We are using various tools, various artisans are involved, various design teams are involved to create products, and a lot of other different small products which we have done.
With representation from across the globe, the focus of the summit is a sustainable future.
Reduce, reuse and recycle. Well, more than 50 startups are showcasing their product because we are talking about 3R economy. And by the way, this is a lion, the emblem of Make in India. So, but this is not for you. It has already been sold for 3 lakhs. Well, there you say it. From waste to wealth. With cameraman Gaurav Giri in Jaipur, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
India's Home Ministry and the country's premier Defence Research and Development Organization, that's DRDO, collaboration conference cum exhibition on advanced technologies for internal security and disaster relief operations opened in New Delhi. The 2-day conference aims to equip India's Central Armed Police Forces and its officers with the latest advancements in technology to address challenges in their operations. India's Defence Minister, who inaugurated the exhibition, said that internal and external security are two sides of the same coin and all departments dealing with security must work in collaboration and synergy.
जो हमारा लक्ष्य एक है, तो फिर क्यों न हम इस दिशा में प्रयास करें कि हम आपस में इंटीग्रेशन करते हुए एक होलसम अप्रोच के साथ अपने दायित्वों का निर्वहन करें. अगर हम एक साथ मिलकर काम करेंगे, एक दूसरे के काम आएंगे, तो सिक्योरिटी जैसे महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर हम और भी बेहतर रिजल्ट्स हासिल कर पाएंगे. जब मैं इंटीग्रेशन और कोलैबोरेटिव अप्रोच की बात करता हूं, तो मैं सरकार द्वारा इस दिशा में किए गए प्रयासों को भी मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में हमने हमेशा इस बात पर ध्यान दिया है कि संस्थाएं साइलोस में कार्य न करें, बल्कि एक दूसरे के साथ कोलैबोरेटिव अप्रोच के साथ वह काम करें.
And time now to talk about sports. And first up, Champions Trophy semi-final between India and Australia. Well, India's batsmen Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer have steadied the Indian innings after they lost both the openers below 50 runs while chasing 265 runs for victory against Australia in the first semi-final of the Champions Trophy in Dubai on Tuesday. India lost captain Rohit Sharma for 28 runs while Shubman Gill was out for 8 runs. Earlier, Indian bowlers prevented Australia from posting a big total after captain Steve Smith won the toss and opted to bat. Mohammad Shami drew first blood when he dismissed Cooper Connolly in the 3rd over, while Travis Head became the victim of Varun Chakravarti in the 9th over. Head had scored a quick-fire 39. Steve Smith was the top scorer for Australia with 73 runs. Mohammad Shami was the pick of Indian bowlers with 3 scalps, while Ravindra Jadeja and Varun Chakravarti took 2 wickets each. Right now, India are coasting along at 117 runs, 23.1 overs. So they need 148 runs to win the match in 26.45 overs. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS, and scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here, thanks for watching DD India Live.